Welcome to the special edition of Airborne. I'm your host, Holland Lee. As we work our way through the sport aviation industry, it's impossible to ignore the excitement and following that's built up around a new generation of aviation competitions, all involving short takeoff and landing skills. STOL skills can be critical to a number of aviation jobs, but this skill set also can be a lot of fun to pursue. The new wave of STOL competitions has popularized the genre far more than originally envisioned. Few pilots have proven this better than Wild West Aircraft's Steve Henry, who has won a slew of competitions around the country and is getting ready to win even more.
Well, this is an uncommon pleasure. We've been doing a whole lot of aviation politics over the last couple of months. This is going right, this is going wrong, what have you. It's time to get down to something just downright fun. The STOL revolution in terms of competition as well as skill sets has taken general aviation by storm over the last couple of years. And I think there's nobody better able to speak for its popularity and what's happening to that aspect of aviation than Steve Henry of Wild West Aircraft. Steve, let's talk a little bit about the STOL revolution as it's taking place right now. Explain what's happened with this, where it's come from, and where it seems to be going from your standpoint.
You know, this short takeoff and landing stuff that we do, it's pretty much what you do when you're flying off airport. I've been flying off airport for a long time, and so do a lot of other people. But I think getting these STOL competitions out at Oshkosh, at Sun and Fun, at these different venues that we put on these competitions gets it out in front of people that they're like, I didn't even know there was this kind of flying. I think that's a lot of what's happened is we've just been getting it out in front of people and letting them see how much fun you can have. You don't just have to have an airplane that has to land on a runway. This opens up so many more places that you can go having an airplane like my Highlander.
Coming up after the break, we talk to Steve more about the skills needed to participate in a STOL competition.
Well, hello, fellow pilot. I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King.
You know, we've all had our flying lives disrupted lately.
Well, King Schools is here to help you stay up to date with courses that you can access on your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. If you'd like a refresher or just want to expand your aviation horizons, we have a course for you.
So head over to kingschools.com/rusty today for details.
Pilot Communications USA is proud to introduce our latest headsets, the Carbon A1 Active Noise Reduction and the Carbon P1 Passive Headset. Carbon fiber makes our headsets 30% lighter than others, which significantly reduces pilot fatigue. Our BlueLink hand control unit allows you to connect two devices at the same time, and the record out capability can send audio to an onboard camera or digital recorder. Get the headset that's so light you may forget you're wearing one at pilot-usa.com.
Skyleader Aircraft offers a lineup of the most powerful, durable, and efficient light sport aircraft in the industry. From trainers to roomy cockpits for long hauls, Skyleader has an aircraft for you. And the best part? They're in your budget. Skyleader's base prices are set low to give you room to customize your aircraft to your needs, desires, and wallet, allowing you to put your money where it matters to you most. Visit flyskyleader.com today to learn about our aircraft, customization options, and chat with the team.
How would you recommend that somebody who's interested in enlarging their skill set to be able to handle all this start, and where do they go to get the kind of training necessary, or for that matter, the practice necessary to be able to handle all this?
The main thing I think is just really get to know your airplane, get comfortable with your airplane. You got to fly, you got to practice, and you have to, I think you have to set some goals as far as where am I trying to land? Some people, when they come into an airport, if they land within a couple hundred feet of where they think they want to land, they're happy. Well, you've got to do better than that if you want to get off airport kind of stuff. So start squeezing your goals down. Never take a great big step. Expand your capabilities, but do it in little steps. It's like landing on hills. I love hills, but you don't start out on steep hills. You find a gradual hill. See how that goes. Then a little steeper. So it involves slow flight. It definitely involves slow flight, which can be a dangerous thing. You know, I recommend people to go up high at first to practice slow flight. know how your plane stalls. What's it going to do? Does it going to break on one side? Is it going to just kind of mush? Get to know your airplane safely, and then start moving back down to the ground. This is what I recommend anyway. And fly the runway. Just practice flying down at 2 feet high, and then go slower and slower and slower. You can start practicing that slow flight where it's like, oh, it goes. Well, you're only just so high off the ground. There's no harm done. Mm-hmm. That's where you want to land. Like, so on these competitions, I come in a little faster, and I don't get real slow until I'm just about to the line. Mm-hmm. And down there where, if maybe it's blowing 10 miles an hour and you get down there and all of a sudden it's gone, your airplane's going to fall from under you. Always keep some safety margin. Don't go too slow until you're right there.
Do you see the skill sets developed for competition to be different? And if so, in what ways from those who are utilizing STOL operations in the real world?
It's very similar. It's really the same skills that you're using. You just there's some different obstacles, and maybe, when you're out in the Thule's, you're going to have more of a load. You might have somebody with you. You might have camping gear in the back. That's all part of it too, as far as off airport. That's a little different than the STOL competition, because when you're doing the competitions, you're going to be light. Everybody's going to be light. So your plane flies one way when it's light, and it might be a little different. It probably will. You're going to use more runway. You're not going to land quite as slow, take off quite as slow. So that's all part of that knowing your airplane too. But still, both of them help the other.
Coming up after the break, Steve shares some details with us about the Highlander aircraft that he flies.
Unbridled passion, unequaled performance, unlimited possibilities.
Hartzell Aviation, you are cleared for takeoff.
Introducing Hartzell Aviation, leading general aviation companies united by the Hartzell guiding principle of built on honor, a commitment to uphold the highest standards in quality, performance, and support. Hartzell Propeller, Hartzell Engine Tech, Hartzell Aerospace Welding. We are Hartzell Aviation.
Now boarding at hartzellaviation.com.
Aviation Safety Resources is disrupting the market for aircraft emergency parachute recovery systems. ASR systems are smaller, lighter weight, and offer longer repack cycles than similar products available in the current market. ASR has a recovery system available for every type of aircraft: sport, experimental, light sport, general aviation, urban air mobility, vertical takeoff and landing, electric propulsion, and unmanned aerial systems. Find the right product for your aircraft at aviationsafetyresources.com.
Throughout the globe, Piper Aircraft has hand-selected the very best in company representation, service, and support. From first inquiry to acquisition to product support, Piper Aircraft ownership is seamless and worry-free. Piper Aircraft authorized dealers, factory trained, factory connected.
Tell us about your airplane. We don't have a whole lot of experience with the Highlanders. We've flown just about everything else that we need to get around to it, especially with our upcoming Sport Plane Resource Guide projects and having to test fly more airplanes. But it's an aircraft that has definitely captured the imagination of folks who are looking for not only short takeoff and landing, but kind of a rough and ready type of approach to aviating. And apparently you've modified yours to fit you in a really big way. Tell me about it.
Well, I like for the Highlander to be out there. That's what a lot of why we go do these competitions. But yeah, I started out flying Highlanders about 17, 18 years ago, and I really liked it. I had just a stock Highlander for the first 7 years. I landed that thing like 10,000 times and 1,500 hours on it. So I've been working with these airplanes for a long time, and I liked it, but I'm always thinking, well, how can it be better? So I think about what I can do to mine that other people can do to theirs. I don't really try to build a one-off real special airplane for myself. People all the time, I hear it all the time, my highly modified Highlander. Honestly, it's not that highly modified. I have a wing cuff. That's one thing that we do that really changes the wing, makes it just better all the way around. It cruises a little faster, it goes slower, it lands slower, gets more angle of attack. We have good suspension. I use Shock Monster gear legs and shock struts, and then the Just Aircraft tail wheel suspension, which is, I haven't seen this good a suspension on the tail of any other airplane. With a Tundra Light tail wheel, we reshape the front of our ailerons, make the ailerons work a little better. If I'm in a competition, I have some little deflectors that I kind of temporarily put on my flaps that kind of turns the air down more and helps me out a little bit. You can't stand them for just everyday flying. They're very draggy. So that's one modification that's just for a STOL competition. Slats, we run slats that Carbon Concepts makes up in Alaska, and then we make the brackets so people can get slat kit from us if they want. I run them most of the time. The only time I don't really run them is if I'm doing STOL drag racing, which is a whole nother thing. The other thing that is pretty special on my airplane is the 300 horse Yamaha, but anybody can get one of them too. They're available. It's not that unique anymore. And now something else that's happening is the newer Yamaha, the 3-cylinder Sidewinder. I've just today got my new airplane signed off by the DAR, a brand new Highlander with,
Oh boy.
it's a XL fuselage, so it's 2 feet longer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the new 3-cylinder Yamaha in it, which I'm really anxious to try out. We help people to make a plane just like mine if you want, or somewhere in between. You know, maybe a guy isn't going to really land on off airport and gravel bars and stuff, and don't really need all the suspension, then probably don't need to spend the money on it.
Mm-hmm.
Still put the cuff on, still reshape the ailerons. There, you know, there's some things that, yeah, you want to do no matter how you fly it. And that's the kind of thing that we help people with. That's why we're the best place to buy a Highlander from. I think so. I mean, maybe I'm just slightly prejudiced, but really we take care of people that, you know, that help us make a living, you know, selling the kits. And obviously I believe in them, or I wouldn't still be flying them all these years.
Well, that's it for our time with Steve today, but don't worry, we'll have more tomorrow when Steve shares details about the different types of STOL competitions available to compete in. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Airborne Special Edition. This show is an interview series designed to bring special attention to topics of interest to the aviation community. If you have suggestions for interview topics, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.